Good evening. How are you this evening? This is Britiany A Christian, and I'm going to read chapter 6 and maybe 7. I've got my water here today. So this is Millennial Rain, Chronicle of the A.B.I.S. by Britiany A Christian. And there's the back. And it's on sale on Amazon.com under Britiany A Christian, Millennial Rain, R-A-I-N. Well, should we get to it? Remember, this is copyright 2015, Britiany A Christian by Riseville Publishers, and a subsidiary of Riseville Ventures. All right. And remember, any, coincidence about, being related to anybody that's alive or dead, this is all fictitious, except maybe some of the places. And yes, it's a coincidence if it seems to be someone living or dead now. I made it up. Except for like some things like Babylon. It's in the Bible. And of course Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, that's in the United States. And but let's get on with it. Chapter 6. Oh my goodness. What is going to happen to Rose, Abigail, Joshua, and Mikel? As you can remember, they're in Babylon. But Rose has left with Abigail back to America. Let's see what happens. Mikel stared at the half-empty amber bottle of liquor on his dresser. Joshua had retired to his room to call Abby after they had eaten dinner, and now Mikel was alone with his thoughts. His heart was broken that Rose had left without so much as a goodbye. As he reached for the bottle of liquor on his dresser, his hands were shaking really hard. It was almost as if it was no longer easy to pour himself a drink. He had managed to stop drinking on their trip to Babylon, and he was quite sure within himself at that time that he would never have to touch another drop again because of Rose. Her beautiful brown eyes reflected in his mind's eye for a second, and he almost started sobbing. Tears flowed from his eyes. He missed her so much already. Why didn't she trust him with what she had experienced at the A.B.I.S? Didn't she believe in him enough to share with him what she had seen? Didn't she know that he loved her so much? Turn the page. That he would have helped her with her terror? He swallowed the liquid in the glass and instantly started to feel the rosy effects of the alcohol. It really doesn't matter, he muttered to himself, as his body filled with the warmth from the alcohol, but the bitterness of it absorbed into his mind. It really doesn't matter at all. I can make it by myself. I don't need her anymore. I thought she loved me, but now I know she didn't. If she did love me, she never would have left me like this. His anger grew as he finished his drink until it filled his whole being. He poured himself another drink and kept pondering. And not left him. And now Rose. Even his good friend had died. Everyone seemed to be leaving his life. It's all right, he comforted himself. I can make it alone. I don't need Rose or anyone else. I will be fine by myself. And as he continued in this bitter train of thought, he stretched out on his bed and instantly fell asleep. Rose sat in Pastor Riley's office. She had told him what she had seen at the ABiS, and she watched his face for his reaction to what she had revealed. Rose, I've known you for a long time. I know that you're a sane, capable woman. I know that you would never exaggerate or distort facts. I believe that the Lord has revealed this to you for such a time as this. God, in his wisdom, wanted you to tell me what you had seen so that I could tell our congregation that the time is at hand. Jesus is coming at a moment's notice. He's coming now. I can feel it in my spirit. The only thing that's holding him back was the Holy Spirit. But everything has been put into place. What you have seen proves that out. Rose, don't say anything about this to anyone. Let me pray about this, and I will get back to you. All right? Rose got up and turned away from him to leave, and then stopped and turned to face him. I do have one question, though. Why did it seem that we were out in space in the ABiS? It almost seemed as though we were crashing into the stars there inside the ABiS. I don't understand. Weren't we in space instead of in the earth in hell? Pastor Riley thoughtfully stroked his beard as he watched this very kind and sweet woman. We are aware of the fact that Satan is the father of lies. Jesus said so. Satan is the great deceiver. I believe that he deceived you and the others into thinking you were in space, when in actuality, you were barreling into hell itself. The smoke and the brimstone, as described in Revelation 9, when the ABiS opened, is an indicator of what was really happening. God has revealed the truth to you, and I believe it will bring others to Christ with the retelling of it. Go in peace, Rose. I will be praying for you. Rose nodded her head, and it suddenly felt as if the heaviest burden was taken off of her shoulders. She felt lighter than she had in days. As she walked out of his office and over to Abby, she whispered softly to her, "We can go now, Abby. Everything is all right now. I can finally breathe again." Irma answered the door, cried out in surprise, and hugged the beautiful, slim young girl that stood in front of her. "Karen! Karen!" she cried out. She continued to hug the girl until the girl gently pulled away from her. "Irma, I am so glad to see you too. But tell me, how is Papa? I was so concerned when you called me. I had no idea what was going on. Is he all right? I was so worried about him because it's so soon after Mama's death. Where is he?" "He's in his room. He hasn't left his room in a couple of days. Actually, since he took Joshua to the airport." "Joshua? Who is Joshua?" Irma led Karen to the couch. And they sat down, and as they sat down, she started filling her in on the happenings of the past month. The good doctor has fallen in love again with a most beautiful and kind lady. She is wonderful, though, so kind and so thoughtful. She's a Christian, but the sweetest woman you could ever imagine. I liked her right away. He was so heartbroken after your mother's death. I was so happy that he had found someone to comfort him. It's not good that for a man to be alone. The Torah said so. The Torah says so. Suddenly, they were interrupted by Mikel standing there, staring at Karen. Is it you? Is it really you? I thought I was imagining it when I heard your voice when I woke up. His daughter jumped into his arms, and they hugged for the longest time. I missed you so, Papa. I took leave so I could come and see you. But Papa, you look so thin. Are you all right? I'm all right now, he said, with the warmest smile that reminded Karen of the Papa of her youth. Irma had left the room and returned smiling with a tray of tea and sweet Jewish breads. She poured them tea, then rushed out of the room to find her husband, to tell him the wonderful news of Karen's return. They had both been so worried about the good doctor. They were relieved when Karen called Irma back, and Irma was able to tell her about the sad condition of the doctor. Irma wasn't sure what had happened, only that the sweet Rose had left unexpectedly, and the good doctor was taking it very hard. He wasn't going to work, but had taken a leave of absence from the practice. Karen smiled at her father. What's this I hear? You have met someone and didn't tell me about her? When Karen, just a moment, can you see my kitten? Hold on a second.